Most people compare martial arts by techniques. They talk about punches, kicks, takedowns, and submissions, as if the winner in a street fight is decided by who has the stronger move. But the truth is far more hidden and far more important. Every martial art carries a secret advantage, something that does not appear in the clean, organized environment of training, but becomes incredibly powerful the moment a real fight begins. These hidden strengths only reveal themselves under fear, pressure, and chaos, and when they show up, they can completely change the outcome of a street confrontation. Before we go deeper, tell me something important in the comments. Which city are you watching from? The way people fight on the street, the kind of danger you face, and the situations you might encounter are very different depending on where you live, and knowing your environment changes everything. And stay with me until the end, because the most powerful hidden advantage, the one that every martial art builds without the student even noticing, and the one that truly decides who survives real violence, is revealed in the final part of this video. Once you understand it, your entire view of martial arts will shift instantly. Now, let's begin with the first hidden advantage, one that appears in an art people think they already understand perfectly. When people think about boxing in a street fight, they immediately imagine fast punches. They picture jabs landing clean, crosses snapping the head back, and hooks thrown with sharp precision. But none of that represents the true hidden advantage of boxing. The real power of boxing in a street confrontation is the emotional stability it builds, the ability to stay calm when someone is trying to hit you with real intention. This is something most beginners never train until it is too late. A boxer spends hours watching fists fly directly toward their face. They learn to keep their eyes open when instinct screams for them to look away. They learn to breathe even when panic rises. They learn to stay relaxed in moments when other people would freeze. Over time, their brain becomes familiar with pressure, shock, and sudden movement. And that familiarity becomes priceless on the street. Because the first real punch in a street fight surprises almost everyone. The movement is messy, fast, emotional, and unplanned. There is no rhythm. There is no clean timing. There is no referee. A beginner who has never dealt with this kind of chaos often shuts down instantly. They blink, flinch, tense their shoulders, and lose control of their breathing. Their entire body collapses into a defensive panic. But a boxer recognizes that moment. They have lived it so many times that it no longer feels overwhelming. There is something else boxing develops that people rarely talk about. Boxers understand distance better than almost anyone. They can feel when danger is close even without thinking. They know when to move back, when to step forward, and when to slip to the side. And in a real confrontation, controlling distance is often more important than landing a punch. If you know how to move a few centimeters to the left or to the right, you can make an attacker miss completely. And when an attacker misses, their balance breaks, their aggression stumbles, and their confidence cracks. The hidden advantage of boxing is not strength. It is not speed. It is not technique. It is the ability to think clearly while someone else is losing control. It is the ability to remain functional when adrenaline is rising. It is the ability to stay composed when fists are flying. In a street fight, that clarity becomes a weapon more powerful than any combination you could throw. But even with all these advantages, boxing has a limitation, something that becomes obvious the moment the fight stops being clean and the distance disappears. Because when the attacker crashes forward, grabs your clothes, or smothers your movement, emotion alone is not enough. And that is exactly where the next martial art reveals a hidden advantage that fills this gap perfectly. When people picture Muay Thai in a street fight, they imagine sharp elbows, smashing knees, and powerful low kicks. But these visible techniques are not the true hidden strength of Muay Thai. The real advantage lies in something far more instinctive and far more important when chaos hits. A body and mind that do not panic the moment real impact arrives. Most beginners in martial arts, even those who train hard, have very little experience with genuine, unpredictable physical shock. They know controlled drills, timed pad work, and sparring rounds where partners behave respectfully. But in a street fight, the first collision feels violent, clumsy, and explosive. A shoulder slams into your chest, a knee bumps your thigh, an elbow grazes your ribs, or you stumble into a wall. That sudden, uncontrolled impact disrupts breathing, balance, and clarity. For someone unprepared, it is overwhelming. A Muay Thai practitioner, on the other hand, has lived through thousands of collisions. They have absorbed countless checks, blocked kicks that vibrate through the shin, taken body shots that push the air out of their lungs, and exchanged clinch pressure that squeezes every muscle. Over time, the body becomes familiar with discomfort. The mind learns not to overreact. Pain stops being a shock and becomes information. And this is a massive hidden advantage in a street confrontation. Most people shut down when they feel pain they did not expect. Their brain focuses on the sensation instead of the threat. Their breathing becomes chaotic. They lose structure, posture, and awareness. But someone conditioned by Muay Thai reacts differently. They take the hit, stay standing and continue functioning. They do not crumble at the first moment of discomfort. They stay grounded both mentally and physically. Another hidden strength of Muay Thai is its emphasis on generating force in extremely tight spaces. High kicks and spinning attacks look impressive, but they are nearly impossible to use safely in most real street environments. What does work, however, are the practical movements that Muay Thai trains constantly. Small elbows with minimal wind-up, quick knees from the clinch, short teeps that interrupt forward pressure and low kicks that disrupt balance without needing perfect footing. These strikes are compact, instinctive and survive the chaos of close confrontation. But Muay Thai's hidden advantage goes even deeper. It teaches you to embrace physical contact rather than fear it. Many people panic when someone grabs them, presses against them or closes space aggressively. A Muay Thai fighter feels at home in those moments. They understand posture, inside control and how to stay centered when someone is trying to bulldoze toward them. Yet even with a conditioned body and confidence in the clinch, Muay Thai faces a limitation when fights stop being upright and start collapsing into grappling, falling or tight scrambles. And that exact moment is where another martial art reveals a hidden advantage that completes what Muay Thai cannot cover. When people think of Jiu-Jitsu or wrestling in a street fight, they imagine arm bars, chokes, takedowns and impressive grappling control. But the true hidden advantage of these arts is not the submission itself. It is the ability to stay calm, efficient and aware in the exact moment when most people lose control completely. The moment when the fight becomes tight, messy and suffocating. Almost every real street confrontation collapses into close contact. Someone grabs a shirt, crashes forward without technique, tackles out of fear or desperation, or simply tries to overwhelm with raw force. That sudden loss of space is where beginners panic. The feeling of being grabbed, pushed or smothered triggers instinctive fear in people who have never trained for it. The legs stiffen, the breathing becomes frantic and the mind shuts down. But grapplers live in that pressure every single training session. They have spent countless hours with someone on top of them, someone trying to take them down, someone squeezing their torso or wrapping around their legs. Their bodies understand the language of pressure. Their lungs know how to stay calm even when breathing feels restricted. Their reflexes know how to adjust posture, move the hips, frame with the arms and recover balance even in the ugliest situations. This comfort under pressure is one of the most powerful hidden advantages in a street fight. While most people freeze when grabbed, a grappler simply reacts. They stay functional. They do not waste energy fighting the panic. They use it. Another hidden advantage of wrestling and jiu-jitsu is body balance. Not the kind of balance people imagine when they think of artistic movement, but true survival balance, the ability to avoid being thrown to the concrete, the ability to stay upright even when pushed off rhythm, the ability to fall without losing awareness. Grapplers intuitively understand weight distribution. They know how to use their hips, their shoulders and their posture to stay stable in situations that would send most beginners to the ground instantly. And even when they do fall, they do not fall blindly. They protect the head. They avoid exposing the back. They recover guard or scramble up quickly. They do not extend the arms in panic. They do not roll in confusion. They fall with purpose because falling is something they have done thousands of times in training. This is a massive advantage on the street, where the ground is unforgiving and one bad landing can end the fight immediately. Still, even this hidden advantage has a limitation. Grapplers are incredibly effective once contact is established, but they are not always prepared for sudden danger that does not follow physical rules, weapons appearing unexpectedly, multiple attackers closing in or people striking wildly before a grip is secured. And that moment, the moment when the environment becomes unpredictable and decisions must be made instantly, is where another martial art reveals a hidden advantage that fills the gap perfectly. When people imagine Krav Maga or modern self-defense systems in a street fight, they picture aggressive strikes to vulnerable targets, fast reactions, eye gouges, groin kicks and sudden counterattacks. But these visible techniques are not the true hidden advantage of Krav Maga. The real power of this style lies in something far deeper and far more critical in a real confrontation: the ability to make instant survival decisions before chaos takes over. Most martial arts teach you how to react once the fight has already started. Krav Maga teaches you to recognize danger before it fully forms. It trains the mind to read tension in someone's shoulders, fear in their eyes, aggression in their steps, and the shape of their hands when they might be reaching for a weapon. This awareness is not paranoia. It is survival intelligence. And in a street fight, the person who understands what is about to happen usually controls what will happen next. Self-defense systems encourage students to act before panic sets in. They build a type of decisiveness that most beginners lack. Instead of thinking about which technique to use, a Krav Maga practitioner reacts with simple, instinctive actions that interrupt the attacker's momentum. A push to create space, a sudden angle step to avoid a rush, a quick palm strike to break forward pressure. These movements are not about domination. They are about disrupting the chaos long enough to break free. This decisiveness is a hidden advantage because hesitation is the silent enemy of survival. In a real fight, the body tenses, the mind tries to understand what is happening, and in that tiny gap of confusion, danger grows. Krav Maga removes that gap. It trains people to move early, to move fast, and to move with purpose. It trains the instinct to escape rather than to engage in a prolonged exchange. It teaches that the goal is not to win a fight but to leave it. Another hidden strength of Krav Maga is its acceptance that street fights are dirty, unpredictable, and unfair. It prepares for sudden grabs, headbutts, shirt pulling, improvised weapons, slippery ground, and people screaming. It does not expect clean attacks or controlled reactions. It expects chaos, and it trains the body to keep functioning through that chaos. This alone gives an enormous advantage over someone who only trains in organized, respectful environments. But even with all this mental sharpness and survival instinct, Krav Maga cannot escape one truth. No matter how skilled or prepared someone is, fear still hits hard in real danger. And fear can cloud judgment, tighten the muscles, and shake the breath of even the most confident fighter. That is why the most powerful hidden advantage of all martial arts, the one that truly decides who stays functional when the street turns violent, does not belong to any single style. It is something every martial art builds quietly, slowly, and almost invisibly, and it is revealed only in the final part of this video. When you look at boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, Krav Maga, and every other martial art, it is easy to get distracted by the visible techniques. The punches, the kicks, the takedowns, the escapes, the blocks, all of these elements are important. But none of them represent the most powerful hidden advantage that martial arts build over time. This final advantage is something deeper and far more valuable in a real street fight. It is the ability to stay mentally clear while everyone else around you is drowning in fear, adrenaline, and chaos. Because the truth is simple and uncomfortable. In a real fight, clarity is rare. Almost nobody keeps a steady breath when danger appears. Almost nobody maintains awareness when panic starts to rise. Almost nobody thinks clearly when their body shakes, their heart races, and the world suddenly feels too fast and too loud. But martial artists train hundreds of moments that sharpen this clarity. They learn to breathe when pressure increases. They learn to stay aware when fatigue grows. They learn to move even when fear wants to freeze their legs. This is not something taught directly. It is something shaped little by little during training without the student even noticing. This clarity becomes the most powerful advantage on the street. When a situation explodes and people start yelling, pushing, or grabbing, the person who can still think is the person who can survive. Someone who stays clear can choose when to avoid a confrontation, when to leave, when to speak, when to push, when to strike, and when to escape. Someone who keeps clarity sees danger a moment before it becomes unavoidable. Someone who does not panic can recognize if the attacker has friends nearby, if a weapon is being reached for, or if the environment is unsafe. Clarity protects not only the body but also the judgment. It keeps you from chasing ego. It keeps you from staying in a fight longer than necessary. It keeps you from ignoring exits or walking into traps. It lets you choose the smartest path instead of the emotional one. And this is something every martial art gives you, regardless of the style. The boxer learns clarity in the middle of incoming punches. The Muay Thai fighter learns clarity under physical shock. The grappler learns clarity while crushed against the ground. The Krav Maga student learns clarity while reading danger and acting early. Each style builds a different layer of this mental strength, but all of them point toward the same truth. And here is the conclusion that ties everything together. A street fight is not about who hits harder, who knows more techniques, or who looks more skilled. It is about who loses control first. The person who panics, who freezes, who stops thinking, who lets fear take over, that person is already defeated long before the fight ends. But the martial artist who keeps clarity, who breathes, who notices details, who stays aware, and who makes smart decisions becomes extremely difficult to harm. This is the ultimate hidden advantage of martial arts. Not the technique, not the power, but the mind built quietly through training. When you understand this, everything about real self-defense becomes clearer, and every movement you learn finally makes sense.